guess it was safe. So yeah, none of the missions at the moment are very happy. They've all got kind of like this to-do stuff listed. Um, yeah, not great, but the new mission engine is in, but it's not rewarding any missions or showing you any information about that stuff. So yeah, let me see if I can pull up the Unity editor and we can take a look at that. Right, so let me just check I've got any splits and stuff written like on here. I think we're good. Yeah, fine. So let me just show that. Okay. So this is the best I'm going to do on the new mission stuff for this evening. It's just going to take me probably the weekend to finish it up. So in case you don't know, Unity is the game engine that I use to make AQ1 and make AQ2. This is the Unity editor, so some people will be familiar with it, others this will be way too technical and new or whatever, but I've been making some custom editor stuff, just like extensions to the Unity editor for AQ2 specifically. This is one here, actually. So this was a little window where I could look through all the items that exist in the game and quickly look at information about them, and also really nicely be able to to be able to update their values on the server on the live game, like in real time, basically. So before I'd have to go into the database, and then I made something where I just go into some code, whereas now I can do this all from Unity, and it's all synced up nicely. So for example, here we've got a AI hardpoint, it's a defensive chip, gives me some information about here. The value is its kind of default value, which would be 150,000 chips, and I could just change that. Let's just say, let's make that 120, hit save, and that has now updated the database, and then it's updated the game as well. So that's real time. That will now get pulled down by anyone playing the game, and there we go. Really nice, quick, easy ways for me to update items in the game, and also to be able to see different stats on items and other bits and pieces. And see different things, whether or not they go to personal inventory, and it's like debugging kind of information. Yeah. Any questions on that stuff? Just yeah, chat. I am reading chat at the same time as going through this, so I'm not very good at doing two things at once, but I'll try my best. Another new feature since last week, feature I've expanded on it, is your NPC contacts. So before, when you start a mission, you would go chat to someone in your station that you're in, and you'd accept a mission, and it's all coded really weirdly in the back end. So I've now got a little editor where I can go through and I can see these contacts that you can speak to. I can put in their location, what kind of contact they are, their name, their corporation. I can change their profile picture, and then again I can hit save, and that will update, boom, real time on the server. Just makes all this kind of stuff easier. And to show you that in game, I will just swap over to Unity. And transition, there we go. So the contact system, journal, just listen here. So these are the contacts here that you just saw me playing around with in the Unity editor. Nice and updated. Let's just jump back. Okay. So the missions is the more interesting stuff. We will go to the mission editor. This is going to look really complicated. And say, like, I'd really like to show you some actual stuff. I'm going to be able to do that next week because this is right on the cusp of being finished and in the game. So missions now, I can edit here. It's not very pretty, but it works. So, for example, let's close these up. This is a mission. It's a priority mission, which just means it's part of the storyline. It's got the contact here that you will need to speak to, which is again nicely laid out so I can edit it. It's got the rewards here, and I can just add in new rewards, give you some pyrite, why not, blah blah blah. Boom. Again, I can hit save, and that will update on the server, so I can edit these missions. So new missions are split into phases, whereas before it would just be like a single list. It would just say you need to do A, you need to do B, you need to do C, and then the mission is done, and that's it. Whereas now I've split it up, so you've got each phase is listed one at a time. So phase 1, for example, in this mission is a combat training mission. So it's your first storyline mission. It's go somewhere and blow some drones up. And now I can see that here. I can see ID 0 was just the first one, combat training mission, and then here are the steps you need to complete for this phase of the game. Yeah, it is words. I'm sorry. I'll show a bit more gameplay in a minute, but I'm just doing words of this stuff because I don't have anything to show in game of this. But yeah, I will. I'll show all this next week, and it'll be a lot cooler. Yeah, so anyway, I'll go through this a bit quicker. So now I can say, like, okay, these are the steps to complete this. For example, here you need to head to a certain location, then you need to destroy 5 drones, and then there's an optional step, which is new. So there's like optional stuff of destroy another 5 drones, blah, blah, blah. And then the next mission, again, going through this really quickly, and I'll get into the game stuff. I've got multiple phases. So your first phase is to head somewhere and salvage a black market data drive. Now, once you do that, the mission changes because you can't salvage a black market data drive as part of the story. You'll blow a red sun pirate up, you'll look at their loot, and you'll see fragments of drives rather than a complete drive. So then it'll go on to the next phase, where you'll get a little pop-up and it will say, we need to find enough fragments to reconstruct this drive. And then you'll be presented with 3 steps saying you need to salvage part A, part B, part C. So you can see the missions now can be a lot more interactive. This second phase opens up after you complete the first, so you're not just seeing this list of ABCs. And then you've got the third phase, but when you've collected it, you need to deliver these with there's an optional step beforehand of clearing out all the additional pirates if you want to earn some more rewards. So yeah, that's the new stuff in my world. It will be translated into game world later on. So yeah, if you've got any questions about any of the stuff, how the game's built, I can show you bits of actually how the game is made. I've got all my code here and all the assets and stuff. So if anyone's interested in that, I can jump back. But for now, let's just jump into the actual game. Back to the game. Right. So yeah, missions will be done soon, and they are so much nicer. Even just from editing that, I can see that it's going to be good. So what if you fail all or part? Do you have different routes forward? Okay, your mistake. Yeah, so that's one of the new things of this system. Again, it's really hard for me to show you that Unity editor stuff because it's really dull, and looking at it, like, I get excited by looking at those menus and stuff because I can see what the potential is, but obviously for you guys it just looks like crap. Yeah, so there are different routes. At the moment you can fail or you can succeed, and then there's optional steps. So one of the missions I was laying out was a mission to protect some Titan mining traders. So your objective was to go to a area and then protect them, and they had several ships. You had to protect the main ship as like that's your failure condition. You either fail the mission if it dies, or you succeed. And then there were optional steps for protecting the additional ships, keeping the additional ships alive, and you get extra credits if you complete those. But let's say your main one got blown up, we could then branch that mission and say, okay, never mind, let's do something else, and we can then add a new phase into the mission. It goes, rescue the survivors by using your scanner on the wreckage of the ship. And that way you can still complete the mission, but in a slightly different way, maybe with less rewards. Or if you do manage to protect them, it'll just complete the mission normally. So yeah, it's complicated, but I think it's going to be really good because I can do that branching stuff now. I can say you fail this, or this succeeds, this is optional, this is a little hidden thing which only appears if you do a certain action. And then just restart the game so it's not saying error logged, error logged, error logged all the time. Yeah, so we can do that. So I'm really excited about that stuff. It's a lot better than... I need to do a new dev blog as well. It's a lot better than the previous mission system which I had in AQ2, and it's, miles better than AQ1. I mean, AQ1, I only had the ability for you to go to one area and do a fight. And that was it. I mean, all your missions are just combat missions, right? There's nothing else to it. So, yeah, that's going to be really good. Multiple routes in missions. It's going to be exciting. And I really, really want to get that visible fuel. I can, hook in to certain elements of the missions to do, cool custom stuff. So, whereas at the moment the steps are destroy this, salvage this, mine this, deliver this, I can also have a custom step and then write custom code for that on the server to do something completely unique. So, for example, it might say, drive up to a certain asteroid and scan it, but I can make that, I don't know. I can basically write any code I want around the little sections of the missions and then change the missions on that. So it's not set building blocks of I need to do these three things and that's part of the mission. I'm not making a lot of sense, and it's going to be a lot easier to show this to you, which is why I'm a little disappointed. But I felt like I should definitely do the stream tonight anyway, just to give you all an update. Test out the new mic. Yeah, so that's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. What else have I done since? Let me check my development log, because sometimes I do work and then I forget that I've done it, because obviously I'm rattling through this stuff quite quickly on my end, and I forget to mention something if I complete a section of the game on the weekend and then never post any news or something about it. So what have we got? Player-based stuff, we did that. Updates to the map. I think I showed you guys that. Then it's all my editor updates and mission changes. Oh, I've got a bunch of the old ships in as well. So I think we've got almost every ship from AQ1 in there now, as well as the new ones for AQ2. Hunt updates. I showed you guys the hunts. And the rest of it is tweaks to the interface and stuff, like this new overlay here, just showing you the area type and things. Cosmetic changes. I'm warping. Oh yeah, I did warping last time. Yeah, you can warp anywhere within these areas now without having to pass between these little sectors. You still have to use these main warp lines to get to other. If you want to go down here, run that way. I have to use these warp lanes, but within a single area, I can go anywhere with a single warp. Warp times. Warp times are a couple of seconds. So I touched on this last time. Each one of these areas here, alright, 5, blah, blah, hunt target, my home base, each one of those can be run on a physical game server. So when you move, if I'm here and I warp from here to let's go stacks here, OR5. This warp could be me going from one physical game server that's running the game to another physical game server. So your game client will disconnect from the old one and reconnect to the new one. That way I can scale the game up, so potentially every sector could be a different game server if it needed it, if the game went massive. But it means that the warp time needs to be at least a few seconds to allow you to do that disconnect and reconnect. Long story short, the warp times are as low as possible, and they're only there to hide that disconnect and reconnect to another server, just for technical reasons. So I think I've set it as like a minimum of 3 or 5 seconds. If it's longer than that, it's just your computer taking longer to connect to the new server. But your ship will still move from one sector to another in that time. If you see what I mean, like, you just won't see it because you need to reconnect the server. Yeah, I don't want to put in like actual warp speeds and times. Sorry, I'm meaning warp controls are stationed on the far west. I'm farming on the far east. It's AQ1 maybe to basically move more distance to get there. No, if I am over, well, I am over here. So I'm over here, and let's say my corp is being attacked over here. I need to do that path. I need to warp to here and then to there. So it will take me a couple of minutes to get there in the current system. That will probably take longer in the actual release because you'll warp into like this side of this sector and then you'll need to fly over to this side and warp out. So there is a time you can't instantly warp. However, there are corporation warp buildings you can build as an auxiliary building, and my thought is those will link up different regions. So if my corp owns the sector here and I put in a auxiliary warp building, and I own this sector over here and I put in an auxiliary warp building, I can warp directly between them. Okay. If my corp's got both of those warp gates active. Whether or not that'll have some kind of cooldown, I don't know. But if that's not the case and you're on one side of the galaxy and you need to get to the other side, it's going to take time. You won't instantly be able to get there. I'm arguing around the idea of you being able to teleport yourself and not your ship. Because I could have a ship in a station that my corporation owns, and I could have a ship on the other side of the galaxy. And I'm wondering whether or not you could just teleport and then use the other ship, but I don't really like that idea. I do like the strategy of kind of hanging around in the area of the galaxy you're playing in, if you know what I mean. Like if your corp's on a load of sectors around the edge, then that's kind of where you'll be, rather than running halfway across the galaxy. Unless you're like a trader, because you can make money from trading. Prices are different in different sectors and different regions. So commodity prices are tracked. I'll go to the station market and show you. You can make money from trading. There's like a hauler class of ships. Like the Star Trader is like a massive hauler. And you've got the other little cargo ships. Trade services. So, like the ore here, that is the recent market price at this station, which is 16% below the average market price. This screen's not very good, but this screen here will have all the market info from other stations. It's just not available at the minute. So you'll be able to see, okay, well, if I go from here, buy it here, I can go sell it somewhere else for more. It's trading. There is some data available, like at the minute you can see under available in market there's 96 to 125. So it's worth 170 here. I could then go to the station where it's selling for 125 and make a profit. But yeah, the trading ship, you will be more vulnerable in a trading ship. They are not as well armoured and things, and also you could get PvP'd if you're going in like riskier areas, which you'll make more profit from. There's also on the roadmap a thing for warp lanes getting blockaded. So this warp lane here from Orion into Izar, that warp lane could be blockaded by pirates, and that's like a little micro event. Which means if I went across that warp lane, I would drop out of it into like a new sector in the middle, where pirates would be waiting to ambush me. I'd then have to like walk back. So there's a risk from other players, but then also there's a risk from the general NPC actions, which I think is quite cool. And along with these warp lanes, you've also got one-way warp lanes like wormholes and stuff, but they're not in yet. And then you've got these minor station, scout station. I wonder if this will work because I only put these in the other day. So this is the edge of the core sector, and this is the start of the core region. Sorry, and this is the start of the belt region. Regions are basically like major changes in area. So you'll go through big AQ warp gates. We'll say AQ corporations scanning them. Okay, yeah, it's working. So this is the old warp gate model. It will change. So this station here is a special station that's capturable by corporations, and you can have auxiliary buildings all the same way. But you will use this jump gate to get into the belt. And I've got plans around this, so it will cost money to use these jump gates because they're changes in major regions, and then whoever owns this jump gate, the corporation, will get a percentage of that, and maybe even be able to set the cost to transit that, or maybe the cost will be based on the value of your cargo hold or something. I'm not quite sure on that, but I do want the corporations to earn money from players and NPCs transiting through this jump gate. So that's cool. I like that. That's new. Can players blockade in the same way? Not at the moment. I'm not sure how that would work. Like technically, I can look into it, see if something can be done with that. I mean, in theory, I'm just pulling this out of nowhere. Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. We'll see. I mean, NPCs definitely, because like program that's like an event, and then anyone who walks in will just, change it. So yeah, I mean, in theory, I'm saying yeah a lot. So let's just give it a yeah. Let's give it a yeah. Yeah. So yeah, sorry. On the region stuff, it's kind of like AQ1. You've got the frontier and delta and stuff. So this whole bit here is all for. I'll pad this out with some more sectors because these ones are loading down here. And over here, I've just started doing the frontier sectors. And yeah, so you've got a few belt ones there. They're mostly in at the moment just for me to test, rather than that's actually how they're going to look, because that looks rubbish. So different regions will have major changes in NPCs and prices and missions and things like that. And they also have different standings. So I don't know if I've explained standings before. Whenever you take positive actions within a region, you generate standing reputation, effectively. So like I'm killing pirates and stuff, my standing within that region will go up. And the standings will give you bonuses within that region only. So here I've got standing bonus for the core region. My market tax is actually I get 12% discount. That's just test text at the moment. So when I move into a new region, I'll get standing within a different region and earn new stuff within that. So you're kind of starting fresh kind of in that new region, building up your reputation so you can unlock better missions, and so you get better bonuses and things. It's like a nice way of kind of completing all the different regions, as it were. If that makes sense. A lot of this stuff I just really want to show you, but the game's so complicated that, wow, yeah, thank you. Yeah, the game's so complicated that it's hard to rattle through the stuff in a stream. I think it's going to make a lot more sense when it's done and you guys can play it. I think I've gone off on a tangent. What were we talking about? Or coding and taxing, yeah. Yeah, sorry. Is there more than just Red Sun and Night Raven? Yeah, I'm gonna add a bunch more. I'm gonna add loads. I say loads. I'm gonna add more. I'm gonna add more. The corporations at the minute, um, I say at the minute, they work differently to AQ1. AQ1, you've kind of either got it's a player corp or yeah, my ship's still immortal by the way. So that's why this is happening. Yeah, in AQ1 you're a player corporation or you're one of the preset ones that I've hard coded into the game. In AQ2, you can just have any, and then the AI corporations, NPC corporations like Red Sun, Type Mining, AQ they all work the same way as player corporations, so I can just keep adding more. I've also got a editor for NPC layouts for ships. I didn't show that in bit earlier in the stream because it's even uglier than the stuff you saw. But basically, what I'm trying to say is I can make the Red Sun Corporation and then I can lay out a bunch of ships for them and designs. So, for example, like Red Sun have always got red engines as part of their ship design. They'll have red skins as well, and they'll have preferences for what ships they use, like the catapults and process. And they'll have preferences for what weapons they got on them. And then the Night Ravens have better equipment, usually better ships, and then I'll just add new corps with preferences for different ships. So one corporation might really like missiles and then just use loads of missile ships. Another NPC corp would just love fighters and have loads of carriers and things. So yeah, more flexibility with the AI corporations as well as their ability to act like players. And by that I mean I can have the AI take over stations if I wanted to, which I did do a while ago in AQ1. There was an event where NPCs AI could attack player bases, and everyone was like, "Yeah, we really need this feature." I don't know if you remember it, but it didn't last long because I put it out and everyone hated it because it felt like certain corporations were getting persecuted because they get more attacks than the other, even though it's completely random. So I'm going to have to bear that in mind because I wouldn't want these NPCs to be biased. Not that they can, but even if it's random, people think that the AI is like focusing on them or it's against them in some way. So got to be careful with things like that. But I will try and do stuff like that. Yeah. You've done so much and it looks even more cool in the pictures. Thank you. Yeah, the pictures don't really sell it. I want to get a mini trailer done because I'd quite like to put the Steam page up, and for that you need videos and more screenshots. And I think it doesn't look how I want it to look at the minute, but I think it looks good enough for some like demo videos and things. I do need to do more videos, but I really suck at videos. I do have a system where I can turn off the interface so I can do some more interesting videos, so you don't see all the junk over the top. Do you have plans for NPCs that mimic players, like individuals just roaming, killing pirates, or hitting miners? Yeah, I mean, in terms of like that kind of AI stuff, I certainly want them to be better. In terms of mimicking players, I ain't gonna be able to program AI that good, unless it's mimicking me, because you will see me play these games and suck. I really suck. Yeah. But it's actually one of the things, so to go more technical stuff again, it was one of the things that I was playing around with when I was benchmarking the server, because early on, I really wanted to make sure that these areas could support, hundreds of ships flying around, all blowing each other up. So I built a bunch of code where it would basically make a game client without all of the graphics, and it would connect to a real account with a real character and just fly around, and then it would load up 100 of these fake clients and they'd all connect and all fly around. But from the server's perspective, they looked like real players. It was indistinguishable. Basically, I made a bot for the game. I should have just said that. I made a bot for the game as opposed to like an AI. And with that, I could still use that code to make something which looked and acted like completely a real player, if you know what I mean. They could move between sectors and be really consistent. Like the AI could actually fly around the galaxy and actually do trading, whereas these AI are ephemeral. This, Miranda Hall here, she'll be dead as soon as I leave the sector. She's gone. She doesn't have any life outside of what's going on right now. Is there a cinematic camera? I know you mentioned being able to still have replays. Could there be a free roaming camera? Yeah, so there's this camera, which is limited. That's about as much as I can do with that. And then there's the tactical view, which is look around. There's no free camera. Replays, I'm in progress with the replays, but in theory, the replays should work so that I can view this back exactly as I'm viewing it now with a free camera and with pausing and speeding up. The only issue I've got at the minute is that these areas last, potentially they could last forever. If there were new players coming in and out, this area will just keep running. And so I've got a system where it captures all of the data, which is basically going out to clients at the minute, and saves it on something like Amazon at the moment, on their storage stuff, in chunks of like 5 minutes. And in theory, then I can pull that down and play it back in the game as if it was a real battle, but I wasn't in it. If that makes sense, because it's the same data. I'm just playing it back at a later date and I'm pretending that that's the real data coming from the server. Which means all of this will happen exactly as you're seeing it now, but I'll go pause and round, and I don't know about rewinding because that sounds really tricky. Maybe one day, but I'll put that on the back burner. But yeah, so recordings aren't like AQ1. AQ1 recordings are easy because the battle lasts a set amount of time, and I just record that whole battle and then play that whole battle back. It's not like in segments. If that explains it, right? I don't, say in my real life, I don't talk about AQ2 to anyone because none of my friends are interested. No one's interested, ever, because I just rant like this. So my explanations might be a bit off because I'm not really used to talking about it this much, to be honest. So if any of this doesn't make sense, or I'm going too fast, or I'm jumping around, just let me know. And I'll re-explain stuff. What did I miss? Did you show off the sector event yet? Sector event? I don't know what. Did I promise to show off some sector event or something? What was that? I can't remember that. I mean, there are sector events. Let's see what we can find. At the moment, we've got Pirate Raid. So these are little mini events that happen just all the time. This is Pirate Raid in AQ3. So where was that? I don't need to know where it was. Like, you can just click it. I'm just interested. Yeah, so here you've got a little exclamation mark and it's beeping. There's a Pirate Raid here, so let's walk to there and see if it's still on. Should be. I do need to do a new dev blog. You know me, I'm dyslexic, I suck at writing, so I've always got like a bit of a dev blog written. I just need to pad it out with more words, good words, not rubbish words. And I'll put that out, and it'll have some more information and stuff. So, destroy the Red Sun fleet. That progress bar is not working, but this is one of the mini events. So there should be, it's a lot of those are Night Ravens actually. Maybe they're Night Ravens. Clear everything up. Lots of Night Ravens. Is it spawning Night Ravens rather than Red Sun? Oh no, here's a Red Sun fleet. Yeah, this is a mini event. It's not a great one. What am I doing? Destroy Red Sun. Let's find a better one. Pirate Raid. That's a wormhole. Pirate Raid. Rubbish. Unstable wormhole events like that, but the wormholes that appear, which will warp you to new new sectors that you can't get to without a wormhole. Yeah, it's not going to tell me anything about that. Some of them, like there's Xeno and there's a drone event, which work quite well. What's the next one going to be due? Not for another hour or something. I can't trigger those in code, so to leave that one at that. What's the Leviathan? Leviathan is a new enemy type. I have it planned for like an organic enemy, so I'm thinking space whales. Yeah, good old space whales. The only thing at the minute, I don't have any 3D assets for space whales, so they're just giant cubes flying around. In fact, they might not even be giant cubes, they might be giant invisible cubes, which would just make them invisible. Not cubes or giant. Yeah, they're not going on at the minute. Yes, at the minute I've got two new enemy types. There's drones and organic. Drones are just like rogue little drones that fly around in big swarms, blowing stuff up. There's a drone event where they spawn, so like a drone controller ship will spawn, and then it will just keep pumping out little drones that fly around. And the objective is to just destroy the drone controllers before you get mobbed completely by the drones. I should have really got some water. My throat is killing me. I don't normally talk this long. And the organics are like the Leviathans and stuff. So I did want to do. Someone came up with the idea of space jellyfish, AQ1, but I couldn't get a 3D artist to do a reasonable 3D model with a little bit of animation and stuff, so it never got done because I just couldn't afford it. On that note, on the affording note, publishers still looking at the game. Got more stuff with them next week, so it's a slow process with publishers because obviously there's a lot of hoops you need to jump through because it's all finance and things, but it's going well. Kind of got through a few stages. We're still in talks with a few different publishers, so I'm still in talks with a few different publishers. So that's going well. As soon as I've got more updates on that, I will let you know. So my rationale for the publisher is obviously I want to make this look loads better. I don't want these ugly ass stations over here. I want better looking ships and effects, and the publisher will be able to help with that. When you implemented ships in the game, did you check the ship models of how many guns it holds? I just strap the guns on wherever I can. So, like the Hyperion here, I think they're floating a little bit. I've just put 3 on the front. It does have support. Yeah, so I put them on where I'll show you. You know, I've got the Unity editor thing I can show you now. I can be really boring and I can show you the boring stuff because you've asked and it's your fault now. Right, okay, Unity editor. So Hyperion, where you at? So this is the period. It's the wrong one. This is what we want. We want to pop him in there. So Hyperion model. And then basically I put these, you can see the little positioning bits, I put them there. And I basically go, I want a turret here, I want a turret there. And then I can just do that, as I say. So the blue arrow is the way the turret is facing. You see they're all forward facing. And then I say, here's my 3 turrets, and they link to weapons 0, 1, and 2. And I can say, oh, that also links to 2, and then that's two turrets that are the same weapon. And it works by basically going, okay, they're the same weapon visually, so when that weapon fires, it'll pick one of them to fire. So let's say this is the same weapon as before, and I turn that turret to face the other way. Which it didn't. Pretend the arrow is facing the other way. If that weapon fired at a ship in front, it would pick the turret at the front and fire. If it was firing at a ship behind, it would pick the turret behind and fire. Basically, it will stop the turrets visually firing through the ship, and yeah, I can just strap turrets onto the ship wherever I want. which is why I also want to update these ships with new 3D models, because some of them don't really lend themselves very well to turret positions based on like how the ships look. So yeah, I could put one turret on each side, one on the back, one on the front, and have them all link up to the same turret button that you press. That's the same. So they're all basically the same gun, only one of them will fire at once, and it will just fire the one that visually looks the best, so it doesn't clip through the ship. So I could have like 8 turrets, let's say, one on each side, two guns, and then yeah, I think I explained that. That might make sense. I don't know. Let's go back to uni. Go back to the game. Yeah, so that's how I do the weapons. They just get strapped onto the ship like that. And I also add little like effect zones. So I don't know if you can see, just in front of that middle gun, there's like a bit of a fire going on there. There's a fire on the side down here. I add little points on the ship like that for little effects when the ship gets damaged, as well as the cool burning effect. So yeah, so the weapons that you see firing are the weapons that they are. If you see what I mean? So these red lasers here, the two on the back of the ship or in the middle, they will always be linked to the same guns. I think what I'm trying to say is basically some of it's for aesthetics, but what you're seeing is consistent and deterministic. The same guns will always fire from the same positions. It's not like I just put 10 guns all over the ship and then I fire a pulse cannon and a railgun and they'll fire from whatever turret they feel is best, and it'll change randomly. It's always consistent, so it should look really nice. All the ships have hard borders, they don't clip through each other. No, yes, maybe one of those options. There is physics in the game, so as you've seen before with the asteroids, I can't fly into an asteroid, and the ship will maneuver itself nicely through asteroid builds. If I bring all these guys through this asteroid build, and it should see some nice movements. Oh yeah, and also so wrecks here, my ship moved around the wreck, because that is a physical object. They can't ram that. So if I'm coming towards this asteroid now, my ship should move around it. See the swarm hitting it there, because those are physical objects. I can't ram them. They have hard borders as well. Ships going around it. So that's possible. That's all programmed in the physics engine, right, which is based off the AQ1. I see you can nicely spin around, floating around the asteroids there, trying to come through the field to get me. It looks so nice when they snake through like that. I love it. Yeah, but for performance reasons, the ships don't have that level of physics to them unless they're a wreckage. So it's possible, but I don't know how likely it is, because when you've got 1,000 ships all moving around and they can all collide and things, then the performance is just going to take a hit on the servers. But you never know. I mean, it could be that I do some magic and it works. Weapon fire does go through asteroids at the minute, but that won't be the case in the future. So that is one of the things that will be changing. Yeah, they will block fire like AQ1. So anything that's like hard will block fire. Like the Rex, let's salvage some stuff. Boom, give me your chips. Fucking next stuff, give me your chips. Give me your chips. Money. What was I saying? Yeah, anything that's solid there that you see the ships going around could be blocking weapons fire. Some weapons fire. I mean, I could have like the swarm go over the asteroids and under the asteroids, and missiles go over and under, and then just have projectile weapons hit stuff. kind of goes into what I was saying before about like dumbfire weapons. Like when you fire an E-nuke, it's not tracking because in a minute you can see everything is like a tracking weapon basically. Some of this fire is missing, like missing the ship when they hit me. They don't hit me. That's what I'm trying to say. Some of the gunfire here hits the ship. Some will miss. Rockets and things will always fly and they will always hit. They've got a maximum flight range. They can blow up before that, or they can be shot down by AML. But they are homing weapons effectively. And then you have some dumbfire weapons like the E-nukes and jabs and stuff like that, and they will get blocked by stuff. Anyway, words. Yeah, stuff's gonna block stuff. Stuff is gonna block stuff. You can hide behind stations in the future. You can hide in asteroid fields. Yeah. If another ship gets in the way, that's a tough one. Because it's not like AQ1 where you've got defined attackers and defenders. Well, you've got two sides. Attackers and defenders, really. If I'm flying through here and I'm shooting at someone over here, yeah, well, I should be able to hit that catapult, right? It's in the way. But then, I mean, yeah, logically, I should. But then from a gameplay perspective, do I want to be like firing all my weapons off like this, accidentally hitting AQ and then getting mobbed by them? Probably not. But then AoE weapons, I probably want them to hit stuff. If you fire an E-nuke and some AQ nearby, it should damage them, right? It should damage everyone in the way, including yourself, really. It should just be a big area of damage. If I E-nuke this asteroid next to me, then it hits me as well. Yeah, and I do think that's how AoE weapons are going to work, because that makes sense, because you can... I was going to say you can control it better, but you know what you do when you fire a big AoE somewhere. But in terms of like these projectile weapons, I just don't know. I don't know if they should hit other ships that you're not targeting. Like, should they? What do you think? Ah, my throat. I have to stop in a sec. Yeah, don't know about that one. Pulse Bomb's not in at the minute, because I don't know what I'm doing with it. I want to make changes, but I don't want to make changes. Then I do, then I don't, so we'll see about that. Yeah, so that's all the battle stuff. Just, why are there some ships stacked there? I mean, that's cool. Is it? I think they're getting blocked by those wreckages. I think they should be able to move through them slightly. Stack them up, boys. So, yeah, I'm going to call it for this stream, because I'm going to need some kind of throat sweep. This is more talking than I've done in a week. So, quick fire questions. Hit me. I'm going to flare out for a bit if you just want to. I'll give it 5 minutes. If anyone's got any questions. Let's go somewhere. Oh, it's being recorded, so this will go up on Twitch and on YouTube, like the other ones. Let's go just do a massive fight and see how much data it takes up. You can toggle friendly factions. Yeah, but then what do you do with player stuff that, if you haven't met some players like for a new corporation, should it hit them? I don't know. I'm doing that with my mouth, by the way. That wasn't comedy time farting. Yeah, I don't know. Because the corporation system allows you to set war targets and stuff, and then your AI defenses will attack them and things. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. That's a tricky one. Like, what if I'm in a fight like this, and then everyone's just shooting everyone, right? Because the AI is going to have to know about shooting through things, and there's some more checks for that as well. It just gets crazy. Well, then maybe you should shoot through people that are in your own wing. But not, all these guys are in the same wing, that's why there's big lines everywhere. I don't know. But then I don't know about the positioning of battles. I mean, battles aren't going to be fought this close. If the battle's fought, from normally attacking a guy over here and kind of fighting at that range, then you're less likely to hit someone unless they fly between you. But if you've got like really heavy combat like this, then everyone's just going to get hit by everyone, and I think that'll just be chaos. I think the safe option is to say it's only going to hit who you target, or like a structure or asteroid in the way, or AoEs will hit everyone. Because AoEs will be from those dumbfire weapons like the nuke that don't track. So you're gonna like have to time those right anyway. So if you hit someone with a massive AoE from that, then it's your own fault. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that for now. I'm gonna say I'm gonna ignore that problem because I don't think it is a problem. But I can always revisit it later on if the battles play out in a way that would make it viable. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna quit this. Boom. So sorry about the really boring start of that, but I will give you some better updates for missions when I can. Just going through those last few tweaks, and I just need to make sure the UI works in game. Cool. All right. Thanks very much, everyone. I'm hoping this new mic worked out a bit better. I'll see from the recording. Hopefully it'll be a bit clearer. Before I was using a really rubbish little, from the 90s microphone. So this one's a bit nicer. Anyway, cool. All right. Thanks, everyone, and good night.